Do your job. Karen slapped a cop for not arresting me. She didn't know I was the police chief. There is a specific kind of peace that comes with being off-duty, a quiet satisfaction that only those who carry the weight of public safety on their shoulders can truly understand. But for a black man living in the exclusive and predominantly white subdivision of Whispering Pines, that peace is often fragile and easily shattered by the sound of a prejudiced neighbor's voice. My name is Marcus, and to the general public I am Chief Washington, the highest-ranking law enforcement official in the county, a man who has spent 30 years climbing the ladder from patrolman to the big desk through grit, intelligence, and an unshakable adherence to the law. But to Susan, the HOA president whose face was permanently pinched in an expression of disdain, I was just that man who lived in the corner house, an affirmative action hire, as she loudly whispered at block parties, who didn't belong in her zip code. The conflict had been simmering for months, fueled by her constant microaggressions and baseless fines, but it finally boiled over on a sunny Saturday morning because of something as simple, American, and delicious as bacon. I was sitting on my front porch, enjoying the first weekend off I'd had in a month, eating a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, and drinking an iced tea. The smell of the crispy hickory-smoked bacon wafted on the breeze, a scent that most people find inviting, but Susan found it to be an act of war. She marched across her lawn, her face twisted in disgusted rage, wearing her signature pastel polo and khaki shorts. "Marcus!" she screeched, stopping at the edge of my driveway. "Put that away! It's disgusting!" I took a slow, deliberate bite of my sandwich, chewing thoroughly before answering. "Good morning, Susan. It's breakfast." "It's a health hazard," she yelled, pointing a trembling finger. "The smell! It's greasy. It's urban. You are attracting vermin and lowering the standards of this community. We have bylaws against noxious odors." It was pure racism, thinly veiled as an HOA complaint. She associated my food, my presence, and my existence with being unclean. "There is no bylaw against breakfast, Susan," I said calmly. "Go back inside." That was the trigger. She pulled out her phone and dialed 911. "I need an officer immediately," she shouted into the receiver, making sure I could hear. "There is a man, a suspicious black man, loitering on a porch at 402 Maple Drive. He is aggressive. He is eating. He's making a mess. I feel threatened." She hung up and smirked at me. "Now you'll learn your place. The police will handle you." I just smiled, took a sip of my tea, and waited. I knew who was on patrol in this sector. 10 minutes later, a cruiser rolled up. It was Officer Miller, a good kid, 5 years on the force, hard-working and respectful. He stepped out of the car, adjusting his belt. Susan ran to him before he could even close the door. "Officer! Thank God!" she cried, playing the victim perfectly. "Arrest him! He's trespassing! He's disturbing the peace with his filth!" Miller looked at Susan. Then he looked up at the porch. His eyes went wide. He saw me, his boss, the chief of police, sitting in basketball shorts eating a sandwich. Miller stiffened, his hand instinctively going to the brim of his hat. "Ma'am," Miller said, his voice polite but firm, "who is disturbing the peace?" "Him!" Susan shrieked, pointing at me. "Get him off that porch! Tase him if you have to! He's refusing to obey HOA rules!" Miller sighed, the sigh of a man who didn't get paid enough for this. "Ma'am, that is the homeowner. He is eating breakfast. No law is being broken." Susan stopped cold. Her brain couldn't process that a white police officer wasn't immediately brutalizing the black man she had targeted. "Excuse me?" she hissed. "I pay your salary. I am the HOA president. I am telling you he is a threat. Arrest him now." "I'm not arresting a man for eating bacon, ma'am," Miller said, stepping around her to walk toward me. "Morning, Miller started to say, but he never finished the word. Susan snapped. Fueled by entitlement and a lifetime of getting her way, she lost all control. "Do your job, you idiot!" she screamed. And then she did the unthinkable. She wound up and slapped Officer Miller across the face with a force that echoed down the street. Smack! The sound was sickening. Miller's head snapped to the side. His sunglasses flew off. I was off that porch in a heartbeat, my sandwich forgotten, Susan stood there, panting, her hand raised, looking shocked at her own violence but still defiant. "You listen to me?" She started to yell again. But Miller wasn't a rookie. His training kicked in instantly. "Ma'am, turn around, hands behind your back!" Miller barked, grabbing her wrist. "Get your hands off me!" Susan screamed, struggling. "I'll have your badge, I'll have you fired. Do you know who I am?" I reached them just as Miller clicked the cuffs onto her wrists. She looked at me, her eyes wild with hate. "See what you did," she spat at me. "You caused this, you and your ghetto behavior." I signaled Miller to hold her there. I walked right up to her face. The neighbors were watching. Phones were recording. "Susan," I said, my voice dropping to that deep command resonance that I used in press conferences. "You just assaulted a uniformed police officer. That is a felony. You are going to jail." "He wouldn't arrest you," she wailed. "He's incompetent. He's probably afraid of you people." "He didn't arrest me," I said, leaning in close so she wouldn't miss a word, "because he reports to me." She froze. "What?" "Officer Miller didn't arrest me because I am his boss," I said, pulling my badge wallet out of my basketball shorts and flipping it open. The gold shield of the chief of police glinted in the sunlight. "I am Chief Washington. I run the department. You just slapped one of my officers in front of his chief." The color drained from her face so fast she looked like a corpse. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. "Chief," she whispered. "But you live here." "I own this house," I said. "And now I'm going to own you in court." Miller read her rights while she sobbed, begging. "I didn't know. I thought he was just a thug. Please, Chief, I bake cookies for the precinct." "Save it for the judge, Susan," I said, turning my back on her. They hauled her away in the back of the cruiser, kicking and screaming about her rights, leaving her dignity on the pavement. She was charged with assault on a peace officer, disorderly conduct, and filing a false police report. Because the victim was a cop and the witness was the chief, the DA didn't offer a plea deal. She is currently serving 2 years in state prison. She lost her house, her HOA presidency, and her freedom because she couldn't stand seeing a black man enjoying a piece of bacon. I finished my sandwich cold, but it was the best tasting bacon I've ever had. Susan thought her white skin gave her the right to command the police and abuse her neighbors, but she found out that the badge doesn't care about your HOA title. She assaulted an officer and got taken down by the chief himself. If you love seeing justice served hot and crispy, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, what's the worst thing an HOA Karen has ever done to you? Let's talk. Subscribe for more stories of ultimate justice.